Welcome back. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, he met at the White House today, obviously with a sit down with the president. And during that announced visit, he pressed for $83 billion in extra disaster aid for his state plus New York and Connecticut. Now, the visit comes as reports emerged that the president will soon ask Congress for about $50 billion in additional emergency aid for states hit hardest by Superstorm Sandy. Now, the Governor Christie, he's been almost universally praised, including by this program here, for his handling in the aftermath of Sandy, leading to near-record approval ratings in his home state. Got a 69% approval rating among registered voters, that according to a Monmouth University Asbury Park Press poll released earlier this week. So anybody who might want to challenge him in 2013, they got an uphill battle. And for more, let's bring in Alfred Doblinbergen, Record editorial columnist. Alfred, seems like more than a few folks would like to be governor in New Jersey. The poll is suggesting Chris Christie in a very strong position. When do you think we're going to hear one way or the other from Mayor Booker?
Well, I think most people think that Booker will make some kind of determination before the end of the year. I don't think he can stretch it out much further than that. The other folks who would like to get in the running are going to need some time to get their machines, in place, and I think everyone's waiting to see what Booker's going to do.
You got a gut instinct one way or the other?
I don't think Booker's going to do it. I can be wrong, but I just don't think his fire is not to be the governor. I don't think that it's something he wants to do. I think it's something that a lot of political, power brokers think might be great for them. But I just don't see Booker doing this.
We'll talk about some of his future prospects in a second, but then that leaves Senator Sweeney. I would imagine, unless you got another name that many people think would be the de facto Democrats' best chance, and he kind of matches up well, at least in temperament, with Governor Christie.
I don't think Sweeney's going to run either. I mean, Sweeney would have to, give up his leadership position. I just don't see him doing that. I think Sweeney likes being the Senate president. He's getting, better and better at it, I think, in getting his feel for it. I think Lou Greenwald down in the South definitely would like to make a run. Barbara Buono has been pretty much running for a long, long time. I don't think Cody's going to jump in. Folks up here are now starting to throw out maybe a Bill Pascrell run, which I don't quite see either. But I would be surprised if Sweeney runs. I think it's going to be someone with a little less of a profile. Now,
is that because people see Christie so difficult to beat in a general, or is it that they see some of the financial challenges lying ahead for New Jersey and it's a less appealing job than maybe it was a few years ago?
Well, I don't know if it was an appealing job a few years ago either. I think, it's a little bit, though, of both. But, Sweeney and Christie have lined up on so many issues. It's going to be very difficult if Sweeney were to challenge Christie to say, well, I'm the better guy, and yes, we did work together on pension reform and reducing the cap, and look at what we've done in terms of tenure and accountability. But despite all that, Christie's totally not somebody you can work with and elect me. And I think that would be part of the problem that Sweeney would face, in the same way that I think Booker would face some of that. I mean, the governor has been brilliant in forming alliances with the Democrats that actually matter in the state of New Jersey.
Everyone thinks that he's done, if not a masterful, close to a job post-Sandy in terms of being the face for New Jersey and speaking directly to constituents. But a year from now, if the redevelopment for large portions of New Jersey and the coastline isn't what people expect, fairly or not, it's going to be, he'll be held accountable for that, won't he?
I don't know about that. The last time I checked, the President of the United States is a Democrat, and the 2 U.S. Senators from the state of New Jersey are Democrats, and it's a 6-6 split. So there's more Democrats to blame than the Republicans.
Well, that leads me to the last question, which is coming back to Mayor Booker. People believe, some closest to him, that he was built more for the U.S. Senate than he was for Trenton or other positions, including, many would argue, even being the mayor of Newark. We all know he wanted that gig before. Down deep, is that probably in his political future, at least a run for U.S. Senate?
I've spoken to the mayor from time to time. I don't know ultimately what he wants to do. I think he would be a very strong candidate for the U.S. Senate. Certainly, a lot of his ideas are the kinds of big ideas that we don't see enough of in the Senate. You know, when he wanted to be mayor of Newark, you knew he wanted to be mayor of Newark. You know, I mean, there was a fire in the belly. You know, you're not getting that sense. You know, he wanted to take on Sharp James. You're not getting that he wants to take on Christie. And I think unless you really want it, it's going to be very difficult to challenge this governor who thrives on all the things that would drive other people nuts. I mean, the Governor Christie is having the time of his life. Whether you agree or disagree with his policies, he is thriving as governor.
And certainly he embraces the conflict that comes along with a campaign as much as anybody I remember. Alfred Doblinbergen, thank you so much as always. Now, I said to Alfred, I think Mayor Booker seems well suited for the U.S. Senate, and I buy that. Now, yesterday we saw an example of the problems he faces. Forget about trying to win statewide. He's got problems in his own city of Newark, and we saw this unfold at City Hall. A scuffle broke out over who would succeed Donald Payne Jr. Now, Donald Payne Jr. vacated his council seat recently after he was elected to replace his late father, Donald Payne Sr., as state senator. Now, when they tried to replace him a week ago, things got so bad, cops had to pepper spray residents to calm things down. Well, no pepper spray yesterday, but Mayor Booker, who broke a tie to replace Mr. Payne, got an earful from folks none too happy with the decision. He left the room right after the tiebreaker. Take a look.
In the event that Shanique Davis receives 4 yes votes, Mayor Booker shall have the opportunity to cast a vote with no prejudice to the parties. Mayor Booker?
Yes.
Shameful.
Shame on you. Shame on you. You have divided this city so that we're going to have a
President.
Mr.
President. Mr. President. Mr. President.
Good times in Newark. Now, listen, for those of us who've dealt with Mayor Booker, I think of him as one of the more talented politicians. There's some debate, I understand, about whether or not it's for the cameras or whatever, and certainly he's got a rep that if you've got a Twitter handle, you'll probably be able to talk to him directly, and if you're in a burning building, you don't want anybody but Mayor Booker on the case, or plowing snow for that matter. That all said, there's certain people, Jeannie, that are built for certain jobs. And I think for a mayor in a big urban city, you have to be a manager first and foremost. You have to hire the right people. You have to be able to delegate. It's about making decisive actions. Whatever you think about Mayor Bloomberg, he's not trying to make friends, okay? And I think he's been widely respected as somebody who's been a very capable mayor, even if he's had his dust-ups. I'm not so sure Mayor Booker ever had that in Newark for whatever reasons, maybe not his fault. I think he'd be a really good U.S. senator. I just don't know as governor if Trenton would be any better than Newark in terms of trying to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he is ready to run for governor at this point. I don't even think he's ready for the U.S. Senate. I know you do. I don't see that record. In his defense, however, governing Newark is a tough uphill battle. So I mean, you got to give. I mean, this is not all his. You know, it's not all his problem.
And part of the problem, Tom, is
it's,
half the people, or a lot of the people, they still want Sharp James. Forget that he had to go away and do time. You know, that's the kind
if
of
Sharp James could run again, he would beat Cory Booker in a primary. But I strongly suggest, I agree with you, Dean, this taking on Christie, please, it's not going to happen. He will get blown out. And if you don't believe me, I recommend the mayor, Cory Booker, call Bill Thompson, because the chief guy in the White House, President Obama, he has a track record of flirting with Republican candidates, even up against an African American. Ask Bill Thompson what President Obama did to him when he went with Michael Bloomberg, and President Obama is doing the same exact thing right now with Christie.
But you can't make an argument that Christie could. There's no way 2013 won't be a tougher year for him than 2012.
Oh, it's going to be a much bigger uphill climb for Christie than people think. I mean, he's at the height of his popularity right now, but memories of Sandy will start to fade. The negative aspects, the lingering, why hasn't this been fixed part, comes down the road. Also, the state's sitting at 9.8, 9.9% unemployment, and that doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. He's got massive deficit issues. He's got a problem with Atlantic City that's going to be a huge story over the next year.
You got to have somebody.
I think Cory Booker could beat him. I think he absolutely could. First of all, you're talking about Mayor Bloomberg didn't make friends. I didn't think that video clip from last night was a real friendly move on Booker's part, and you're right, it was a patronage fight. That's sort of internal politics within Newark. That doesn't play on the entire state level. Maybe he doesn't win re-election in Newark as mayor, but he's still very popular statewide.
You're right. Christie does face an uphill battle. He's got some real issues to contend with. That said, Booker does not have the record to run against him. You're going to talk about unemployment, and you're going to put Newark's unemployment up against the state. I mean, it's just not going to work.
A lot of people would forgive Newark's unemployment rate as opposed to the state's unemployment rate.
Ready for prime time. And President Obama is not going to forget when Cory Booker dissed him during the campaign. Remember that incident?
Yeah.
He's not going to forget it.
So you
Obama
think
has
President
a long
Obama
memory.
wants Chris Christie to be the governor of New Jersey and set himself up for a 2016 run?
Wait. Real simple. President Obama wanted Michael Bloomberg reelected.
Right.
And he dissed the African-American Democratic nominee.
Right.
Did photo ops with Bloomberg and didn't give Thompson a single photo op.
Now let's talk about New Jersey. You really think he wants to empower Chris Christie for 2016?
When Mayor Bloomberg went to Washington for Sandy relief money, did he get a sit down with President Obama?
Yeah, I believe he did. Or
No, he
FaceTime.
didn't. No, he didn't.
Wait,
He didn't get FaceTime with the president.
You're saying
Chris Christie did.
Yeah.
Why is it that Bloomberg didn't get it, but Christie did? Because they're already aligned with each other. Christie, Obama.
it had nothing to do with the quid pro quo from right before the election?
Of course it does. It has everything to do with it. When Obama needed Christie was there for him.
As you can see, the vacation really took well for Dominic.
I've missed Dominic.
I love you, man.
We've got some theories I'm going to be working on.
I love you too, D. And I definitely love you, Richard. I love you, man.
Much love. And this Love Fest, bromance, whatever, will end when we go to break. Now, when we do come back, though, I'm going to put the dean on the spot here. It's a question a lot of people are asking with the new realities of the economy and the cost of college here. Is it possible we could see kids stop going to college in the numbers that we see now? Well, the rising cost of tuition, as I said, caused some kids to say, forget it. I don't need to spend a decade of my life paying off my student debt here, and instead do something else. We'll get into that after this.